Lali-Ho, everybody, and welcome to another elimination match. We are in week 5 of the Lali-Ho League Swiss rounds here in Free Enterprise, and we have Y2Sky and microKorgs fighting for position in the brackets. I am Huffin, joined on the mic by Dathis. Dathis, how are you doing this morning, afternoon, this time period? How are you?
Rally-ho, Hupfin. I am doing perfectly fine. This is a lovely afternoon. We have a great set of on-the-line racers that are going to be doing a run, and I am super excited to see what we get paired with the tiny summoner murder child that is Rydia. Are we going to get a summon to start with? Are we maybe going to see a dragon whip? Probably not either of those, and I know that there's some people in the chat that'd be very happy to yeet this Rydia or just keep her as an anchor, but this is probably the best place to get Rydia if we're gonna have her in the seed.
Absolutely. With the flag set that we have here, characters are not going to get slingshotted when you grab them late. They won't get any of that bonus XP. So Rydia, the earlier you get her, the more likely it is she'll actually be useful. She needs a lot of XP in order to really contribute. You know, starting off at level 1, the only character to do so.
Yeah, and she does gain levels pretty quickly in the early, but it kind of seems like she falls off and gets a lot of the good spells super later by comparison to her Black Mage counterpart in Palom. However, depending on what you see summon-wise, and especially if they go take advantage of that Hobbs flag for a free summon, we could see her pretty much outshine him early. We could get an early Titan. Early Jin wouldn't be bad, or Ifrit. Early Indra or Ramu would be nice. There's a lot of good options. She just requires so much MP to be much more viable, and they are a bit of a longer cast time. So she's a good Black Mage, but with a very much an asterisk there. However, she also comes with the caveat that she can equip a lot of different gear.
Yep, Adult Rydia can even hold on to a Zeus Gauntlet if you want her to just do some physical damage. But yeah, there's I would say really good utility in getting Iridia early on, but really if you're looking for utility, you want to Tella. He's the master of utility and not much else. We do know that we will at least have the opportunity to get a Sid at some point, who's really good at taking hits and tossing potions and maybe a bit of archery now and then.
Sid is arguably the best character to have early on / in these seeds kind of in general because of a few reasons. One, especially early on, he's got the most HP out of a character that is ungated out there that we have. Additionally, he makes great use out of the dwarf kit that we start with, which comes with the dwarf axe and comes with a whole bunch of great mage stuff, which Rydia will make great use of. But Sid himself will be a great bit of power just to get the runners through the early part of the seed, and coming as a big bag of sponge of HP. However, we do have our runners off, and we're going to see who Rydia is paired with and who's giving us a key end today.
Well, our partner is a Dark Knight Cecil, as some manner of Mylon provided us with a crystal ring. One of, I guess, the better crystal items that we could be getting early on is it's one we can actually make use of.
Yeah, and Rydia can make good use of that great agility boost. That Cecil, you're kind of wanting to go up the ordeals pretty quickly, especially if you can find yourself like a decent lightsaber, maybe even an ice brand will kind of like push you up there quicker. He's not as big of a fan of the dwarf starting kit. He's okay with that dwarf axe. There's many other better weapons for Paladin Cecil. Dark Knight, however, depending on the weapon he starts with, actually can provide worse DPS than Rydia, believe it or not. And the advent of the Sea Neki flag, that's a very big possibility.
Well, microKorgs is going to head directly to the Mist Village. Y2Sky going to go over pass, which has been weighted as having slightly better loot on the whole because of this flag set. Mist Village, I honestly don't know where it falls, but Korgs is leaning towards the more lonely locations within that town, if nothing else.
Yeah, I believe Mist hits that lonely area that you were talking about, where the tier of stuff is pretty good. A Gaia drum is really nice. It's Y2Sky finding a ninja shirt on their side. And a coffin, though, too, on Korg. So this is pretty decent early gear to get through some of this starter fights. Especially a Lilith and a Thunderclaw. That Rydia is going to be not for slacking. And finding bandanas for sale, too. not what you want to start spending your money early on with, considering you don't know how the rest of your party is going to be shaping out. But overall, pretty good stuff here in Mist.
Yeah, and Korg's being a little aggressive with that shopping. We saw him picking up arrows and a boomerang. We don't have an edge in the party. We don't have a bow. But if you do grab a bow, you do have an edge. Those are your back row glitching items. So that's going to be very handy for setting up your party to do more damage in more positions.
Speaking of positions, in the position of the sleeping Rosa today, we have Fusoya. That is a character you are going to want to find yourself a standard before. Fu, while he may be a little bit neutered again with Sineki flag, so he doesn't come with his full lunar kit and such like that, he does come with the slew of spells that he learns per each fight, and he can get a lot of HP really quickly if he manages to, if he can knock out some quick bosses. Speaking of quick bosses, we did see the dolls in in the Mist Cave. That's a fight I would take with this team. Just get that out of the way, get Fu a quick set of 3 bonus spells.
Yeah, I mean, the fights count even though Fu's not in the party yet. And, Rydia, again, level 1, 30 HP. Do a free fight to get her some survivability.
The real problem is she's not like Hallam, where one single fight with an experience will get you T2 spells. She has to have herself her glow up, grow up before that happens. But Y2Sky, speaking of free fights, that's Plague in the Octomom spot. Not a bad spot for some good XP early on, but you'd rather see Plague pretty much anywhere else.
Yeah, the worst part of Plague in that spot is that it is the Octomom spot, and that's a fast one. Faster than you might initially expect. Because of Octomom's whole script of losing speed as you damage it, that doesn't happen with other bosses, so they just be fast.
Absolutely. And speaking of things that are pretty fast, I don't know if you saw that Damsian Treasury, but that is all about your Bruiser Seed right there. That was a black belt, that was a Zeus gun, that was a strength ring. Like, that's, we want to make people strong. We become strong with ring.
But also pointing out, over in Kaipo, both of our runners have gone to that item shop. We found the Asura Summon. We were talking earlier about Rydia being a solid black mage, but in a pinch, she is a viable white mage with the right summons and a decent amount of luck.
Yeah, and speaking of, we did see that Asura for sale in Kaipo itself. So if worse comes to worse, we do have the ability for Rydia to be your kind of like backup white mage, not great. Additionally, we also have, I was going to say microKorgs and Y2Sky can do a little bit of we have D-Mist blowing away some ice. That's kind of cute. I love that. Not the summon you want to get for free. So Huffin, I say that. Do you want to explain why Mist is like not the great summon you want to see on Rydia?
Well, I honestly don't know all the details of how Mist operates as a summon, but there are more possibilities for what you could get at that free spot, and that includes some of the more powerful ones. Astra again, Sylph being a possibility. Anything up to, I believe, Leviathan, you can get. You cannot get Bahamut. Don't hope for Bahamut. It ain't there. But there are some really potent ones, and also the elemental ones. If you're trying to swing for, a lightning attack early, you want that Indra.
Yeah, you really do want to see something like that. I say probably Titan, probably going to be one of the better ones. But to explain the point I was pointing at is, so Mist Dragon is actually the worst one for the simple fact that Mist is based off of Rydia's HP. That is the damage it does. Okay. So with Rydia doing 30 HP, or having 30 HP right now, Mist is kind of like very, very not what you want to see there, which is why I pull out of a book and Sid uses it. It's great. Anybody else, not so much. Although I'm happy that microKorgs is pandering to me. I do love me a little bit of vanilla with Vanilla Yang up here.
And see, I just simply never use Mist as a summon. Because by the time Rydia has the kind of HP that would make that a really viable idea, you've probably got the better summons anyway and enough MP to use it. So that's just never a situation I found myself in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of entertaining. Misses like the best part about it is the fact that it's like, hey, this is a good summon because look, it does so much damage against Golbez. It's because he's weak to Holy Elemental, which is what Mist does. And it's just, and then you're like, I'm gonna use Mist again. Anywhere else, he's like, why does this do like 20 damage? both runners getting through the wall fight, getting a couple of spells on the Rydia, some levels across the rest of the team. As we have, as pointed out by chat, partially a vanilla team to go through here. We're just missing an Eddie and a Rosa, and could have had full vanilla, and I would have been so happy for it. But Y2Sky coming over here and is going to be checking Antlion, and we're going to see what more loot here. I haven't seen anything spectacular. Okay, Earth Hammer for that Sid.
Yeah, we did see a defense sword.
Yeah, that's okay. Some good stuff here then too. And this Yang is going to be pretty kitted out, to be completely honest.
Yeah, if you've got that Thunderclaw, that is one of the best options you can have for him. The Elemental Claws don't really add much in the way of stats, but they do add much in the way of, well, elements. And there are plenty of bosses that are weak to Thunder, it turns out.
Yeah, and again, it's little cheeky things from the vanilla game that's always entertained me. It's like how to make these characters seem more powerful than they are. Well, elemental weaknesses is a great way to make Yang feel like he's very much viable, like later on. But if he's not, if things weak to the element or a weakness, oh no! Speaking of elements, you're not a fan of seeing this here, I don't believe.
No. This is I mean, this is viable. You've got the bruisers to tackle it, but yeah, Valveless, not what you want to see in quite a few locations. There are a lot that she just gets so much evade, you can't do literally anything.
True. Actually, so I'm looking up, there's one of our great teachers of the community who's also in chat with us right now in Venerable, has a handy dandy chart that shows some of the defenses and magic defenses and such of Valvalis here. This has 0 physical evade, a little bit of physical defense, but so this is actually a whole lot more doable than I expected. Magic defense only 170, so this is a good spot for everything. But this is actually a really nice pickup. That is Twin Heart for both of our runners, like seconds after each other.
Yep, so that'll be the first of our 5 objectives available for both of the runners to clear as soon as they feel comfortable going into Cave Magnus. I would not feel comfortable quite yet. Our runners only have to complete 4 of the 5, so I think it's safe to say we've got that marked on the to-do list today. We do know that whatever we get out of that Twin Harp, it's not going to be our only way underground. Valveless is a gate with this flag set. You cannot have the only route underground behind her.
Is Valve the only boss that can be a warning to gate the underground access, or is there anybody else?
Nope, we've got Wyvern and Golbez, I believe, are both also hard blocks for your progression underground. Your only progression underground will not be behind them. We could find the Magma Key at that Twin Harp location. That just means the hook is up here.
Absolutely, and the hook can be anywhere else. Although, I wonder if it's really interesting if both ways can be blocked by them. I think by logic, no. That'd be really interesting to see that. Also, Korg, finding a summon you really want to see here. Sylph is great for the early game. Kind of falls off around mid because it's such a long cast animation. It's still great though. And yeah, you see the quick swap. You got that little fraud put on Rydia right there. Swap out the summons. Let's get missed there. Although, what he really needs to do right now is he needs to be swapping. Why I'm going to suggest this? Do you know why he needs to swap that Rydia away from the middle slot?
Well, this game has glitches. It's and any solid video game is going to have a few glitches. They keep it interesting. And one of them has to do with Rydia being in the middle slot and casting Sylph. Very specific, but that makes it cost MP. You would think, oh, it's a summon, it should cost MP. Well, apparently not, because if she's anywhere else, it's free.
Yeah, it's great. It's literally a free heal. The only thing that you lose is your time investment in it, as we're about to see here. Sylph does take a little bit, but it does virus level of damage, which in this point in the game is a fair chunk. I think about 1,000 is what we're going to see here. 600.
600. Still good.
Pretty good, considering your melee fighters are popping for about 100 here, and they're going to be doing even less to CPU in the back row.
Yeah, and the most important part is it is a full party heal out of that damage that you've done. When you're fighting CPU, you're seeing Y2Sky taking this exact strategy. Don't destroy both of the front nodes unless you want to have a bad time, but do destroy the defender. That means the attacker is still, chipping away for 10% of your health every single swing. But if you have a party-wide heal, that doesn't matter. This fight could go on as long as it needs to, which is not very long because Y2Sky and microKorgs, they both got the damage.
They're going to get through these super quick. Also, Something I want to point out on that middle Cecil, sorry, on both Cecils, I guess, on sides. Did you see the color of the blade that he's swinging?
I did not notice it.
He's swinging a red blade, so he starts with his best sword. Mind you, it's not like a great sword, but he is starting with a Deathbringer. So another proponent of the Sea Nike flag is they start with random bits of equipment from their kits. So we're getting access to Cecil's best weapon. So he's going to be actually pulling his weight here on the overworld. But that doesn't really matter much because we can just hop right to the underground. No double dipping. Got a double dip at least for Bull today.
Yeah, hop straight to the underground where he will not really be pulling his weight because the underground is a fair bit tougher. But that is the magma key for both of our runners.
Exactly, and that kind of puts people like, hey, so we want to go to a couple of different locations. There are so many different checks you can still do, and I kind of don't disagree with Korgs going and doing ordeals because you do want to get the Cecil kind of online quickly and into where he needs to be. And if we find ourselves a Tela, we still haven't checked Baron, by the way. There is a Tela that could be found that gets him access to his spells. But we do have the runners kind of like in lockstep, essentially. One hot on the other's heels while they go through different locations.
Yeah, and even kind of trading off who's in the front on each of these. I feel like Y2Sky was a little bit ahead earlier on. microKorgs now kind of looping, getting the first climb up ordeals. For all we know, Y2Sky could get through some of these fights a little faster, having a little bit better efficiency on Rydia's MP. Who knows? This is going to be bouncing back and forth for a while until the seed really opens up.
Absolutely, and it also depends on what kind of boss we haven't tested into Luna Sparkle. We could see ourselves another Wyvern here.
No, it's just a more pale
bad. So this is actually a boss you do not want to be using your summons on because of the script that it has. It counters with summons with Quake, I believe. So it's not something you want to see. Black magic, go to town as long as it's non-elemental.
Yeah, and of course, if your party is floating, then go to town with summons because Quake ain't gonna touch you.
Absolutely, just little things you learn about different scripts of the enemies. Throwing on, however, that samurai bow and arrow on Rydia, still popping out very respectable damage, and with the double non-elemental claws on Yang, knocking out 600 damage with those powers, very, very strong. Additionally, Dancing Dagger that was found on Hobbs, very, very good on that aspect. You see free 300-ish magic damage, no counters, no nothing, no muss, no fuss.
Yeah, nice and clean. Dancing Dagger. Y2Sky is going to cast Sylph. But Dancing Dagger is actually like in the vanilla speedrun. That is one of your early game tools. You can, again, the game has a few glitches. It's fine. It happens. And you can abuse those to get an early Dancing Dagger and do some surprisingly strong attacks.
Yeah, and as we see Y2Sky kind of demonstrating what we were talking about, this pot isn't really actually scary overall. Its magic is very medium normally. Its physical accuracy is very low, as we can kind of see. Its physical damage is really low, hitting one. This is the wrong spot, but French Vanilla Dark Knight right here.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in the chamber, not out. He's getting some air. He's out for a walk, and we interrupted him, and that's very rude of us. So he's going to give us a lecture and then be on his way.
Indeed. So we do have, again, also a French vanilla kind of encounter. We have Dark Knight Cecil versus Dark Knight Cecil instead of Paladin Cecil versus Dark Knight Cecil. It's he's just going up against his darkness a little bit early. He can't handle it. It's everywhere.
You know, you get it out of the way. You know, you tackle these things before lunch, and you just free up your afternoon.
Exactly. See, and we got a whole bunch of free enterprise coming up this afternoon to be excited for too. So that's we got to free up and make sure your schedule is clear for all those races. But we see microKorgs watching Dark Knight Cecil fall into the deep ravine. Probably gonna do a quick, just a little bit of menuing, and gonna check to see what key item we have here and what boss is gonna be guarding this Paladin Cecil. Again, Y2Sky getting through as well, opting against the free menuing time you get and getting up to Rydia. I say just a Siren, but that's still something nice to pop, especially with that coffin that was found. That's a huge infusion of XP for this team.
Yep, crack a single egg, you get, what, 30,000 or something? Some very large amount for, a few seconds of work.
Yeah, 34k, free XP, and then a Rubicante here. This is a boss you're kind of okay with seeing in this spot because you don't want to see him in kind of nastier spots with higher physical attack, higher magical attack, maybe. Because those counter fire twos can hit really hard, and glare especially. That's not something you want to see.
Nah.
Yeah,
But,
short work,
yep.
couple of bonks, and microKorgs is out of there. Has a paladin, and really kind of has the places his oyster now. I kind of don't doubt that we're going to see an underground run. The only place that he may stop out instead, probably Baron Inn before hitting underground. But the whole thing is always check your freebies, check your requireds. Is kind of a nice little mantra to remember.
Absolutely, but I agree that I don't think we're going to see music quite yet. I would want to fill out this party a little bit more. I might even be tempted to go down to the Dwarf Castle if the character at the Baron Inn is not anything to be excited about, just to have a bit more, options for how to attack that fight, and of course a few more levels to actually be, up to snuff.
Absolutely, this party is very survival to get through most of the early, if not mid seed. Considering we have here again, we got Iridia who can just be doing a little bit of work of Sylph. We have Yang who doesn't mind some levels and has 2 out of the 3 the elemental claws, and then we got Cecil with a defense sword. So he has probably one of his higher tier weapons on him too. So this is a solid squad. We're just kind of looking for maybe a little bit more oomph to go with the Cecil, or Poison Axe too if you want to go against the defense sword. Nice, strong hitting weapons. But microKorgs is going to be doing the stop off here in Baron Inn, whereas Y2Sky going to be showing us his path next.
Yeah, gotta make the trek down the mountain. We see just cabins at the Baron shop. It's nice for them to specialize. Just one thing, but they do it well.
Hey, you know what? Never say no to a cabin. Got that full heal. Oh, there's the other half of the power couple.
Yeah, never say no to a Rosa.
I was saying, we're looking for a healer. Let's see what we have to go through here first. Is it Blarg?
It's Blarg! What? 400 HP of Blarg, but a bit too fast.
I do always enjoy seeing like the surprise wyvern, and then microKorgs is doing the one thing that also makes it unfortunate for the second fight, because you don't know what you're gonna see next. So if it's a really long fight at battle speed 6 second words, this is like I love it and I hate to see this, because it's just like this is not a fun time for the second fight.
Yeah, just a decent wyvern into alt gauntlet would be lovely at this speed. It's a good pace for an alt gauntlet.
Yeah, battle speed 6 for alt gauntlet, no big deal. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
but
no,
we
it's
do
fine.
see that mega nuke go off. Quad 9s and gets through the fight. XP on the characters that matter a little bit more than Yang right now. Magus Sisters, though, pretty easy fight, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know that we have any anti-mage gear specifically, but
So,
this is a spot that's more about punching than magicking, so...
So actually, interestingly enough, microKorgs, it was microKorgs that looted the full through Mist, right? I believe it was. So
yeah.
What he actually found inside the Mist shop, not only do we have the Gaia drum that's right outside of this inn, but there are in fact mute arrows in his inventory.
Ah, yes. He picked those up for help with back rowing, but they're about to be very useful if he decides to pull them out.
Absolutely. Mute arrows, good pickups no matter what, because they work in so many different applications. You have the Magus Sisters, you have the Baron Guard fights, you have Asura herself, all classified as mages. You have technically phase and elements. Those are just the bosses. Additional ones that you can get through, you can also go do Mad Ogre fights, which, oh baby, there's your full party.
Yeah, we can hold off on Dwarf Castle for a bit. We don't really need whoever's there. I mean, if it's Sid, we'll want to do it eventually, but not right now. We're good. It's fine.
I fully expect us to see Sid and say, "I'm sorry, guy, our party's full, but we'll still get the objective for seeing you. Okay, thanks, my friend. Bye." But yeah, we ourselves we got our power couple, so we got that X-Cal from objective 2. We have our end game damage. We got Fu, who's going to be a great set of damage. Rydia, probably going to be moved to anchor at this point. And then the Bed Fu Soya, you're kind of rocking as a party. Like, this is a squad, you just go down, you crack that egg, and then you're kind of laughing right now.
Yeah, we see on the screen we have the list of 5 objectives. There's always that hidden objective of get a decent party together. We have cleared that objective off the board.
Absolutely. I've seen parties where it's like, hey, do you want a white mage or something like that? Nah, sorry. You get a Rydia with Asura instead, if you even want to try and find the Asura, which, I mean, there's so many different ways that the characters can be hidden, because 2 of them will always be resting on these flag sets, so they will not be guaranteed. And additionally, with the access of 3 different dupes, we may see nothing but dupes. We may not see them hidden behind where other things are. And it also depends on how the key items shake out, too.
Yeah, I mean, if you just never get an Earth Crystal, that's 2 character checks that you're just never getting access to. And those can end up being the really powerful characters, the ones that would really balance out your party. Or they could just be, 2 more dupes, and who cares, but, that's rando for you.
Exactly. Rando gonna rando. And speaking of going, microKorgs has picked up that Fu, cast Exit on Cecil, which he can exit from towns, get very heads up, and is coming up here to get himself his hovercraft. I kind of want, guess prepping for when you have to get that pink tail trade away, maybe even a rat tail if we find it. I am really excited to see. We have Quake on the old man, so that's
Quake and Virus.
That's more than enough DPS for pretty much whatever we need. Do we have Berserk? We also have Berserk. So yeah, kind of fully online to make this party kind of just happen.
I mean, there are more spells that Fu can learn. There are better spells Fu can learn, but do we need them? Not really. They're nice to have.
At this point right now, no. Like, yeah, we're really looking for Weak. We're looking for Quake. We're looking for Cure 4. Sorry, not Quake. We're looking for Nuke. We're looking for Cure 4. Like, we're looking for those really high power spells, but we're not at a point in the seed where it's kind of necessary. Like, we're 20 minutes in. We have underground access. We have, again, Twin Harp access, which where microKorgs is heading towards. Like, a lot is open, but it's also still extremely early on where you don't need Nuke is, again, nice to save things, but Quake kind of is just as usable considering the amount of damage Nuke can Quake do.
Yeah, and honestly, more important, Quake, it's an AoE. Nuke, not an AoE. We have enough bosses, and of course, always that gauntlet threat, where there's enough fights that we want AoE damage.
Exactly, and if we see, say, the alt gauntlet here, you're definitely going to want to see Quake just kind of do its work here. A little bit of extra cheeky looting from Korgs here. Generally, people rush right through. Finds himself a Bacchus wine. That's, if you keep hold of that until Zeroma's time, that's something really nice to have found.
Oh, absolutely. Always love to have those. And hey, if they are for sale, you just save yourself the cost of one of them at the very least. So that's nice.
They do get pricey, and if you're looking to save up for those sirens, then it's kind of worth the little bit extra. Also, microKorgs showing off a little bit of the cheeky stuff from the game. The map isn't coded completely correctly in some spots. You can go over and snag a free chest.
Yeah, that's just the side effect of having, those triangular shapes on a square grid in the actual implementation. Looks like you shouldn't be able to walk there. You can totally walk there.
Absolutely, and we see a bit of divergence too. Y2Sky could go up and do this music as well with the team that he's got, and decides, you know what, I'm going to go underground and I'm going to go and see what's down here, because this is not a bad idea too. We've got some checks to look out for. Are we going to find ourselves some sirens? We have the Feymarch chest. We have the Feymarch bosses to look at, because D-Lunars could be sitting there. We also have the Sheila checks. Like, there's just so much that the underground gives access to. But not a bad idea still coming and doing this, because again, check your freebies and check your objectives. Both of them really good, and both runners kind of doing both that right now.
Yep, Y2Sky grabbing a quick Silk Web. We'll be probably holding on to that until the very end. But microKorgs having to sit through Dark Elf doing its thing. Wasn't able to knock down the party or get them all paralyzed. So yeah, take your swings, take your damage, and then we'll get to hear everyone's favorite bard play some kind of music. We don't know what it's gonna be. Let's find out.
Indeed, it does at least get through, so it doesn't have to see the weak cast and then the we can't. But we are gonna have. Oh yes, I am so here for this. All right, so that is a whole bunch we need to talk about real quick here. First of all, I want to give a huge shout out to microKorgs with that absolute level of showmanship. Teach me, Senpai. I need to learn this. Getting that spotlight on Edward as he goes and sings the song, which was Lufia 2 with a free fight and a hook here at the Cave Magnus. Gets objective 1 done. But the really big things we see on Y2Sky's side, we have a lot of information. One, a second helping of vanilla for me. We have the rat tail. And then we also have the alt gauntlet found at Asura with Antlion at Leviathan. That is a gross fight, by the way.
Yep, Leviathan is a bit punchy, a bit rude. And you know, the Antlion, it counters any physical attacks, and those counters are, I believe, actually magical, but in between those, it punch hard, it punch a lot.
And the magic stat there is actually semi-respectable, if I remember correctly. So those counter claws or pincers are actually going to hit you pretty decently. So it's not like, oh, just berserk and not have to worry about things and clog the queue. No, you're going to be taking a lot of pain throughout that in the meantime. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're going to want to be casting that Sylph as often as possible, which, I mean, back and forth. You're going to want Cure 4s from both Rosa or Cure 3s from Rosa and Fusoya here. That's not fun.
Nah, but we did find there's a white shirt as our Sheila 1 item, so hey, slap that on Rosa or Fu, and their heals will be that much more healy. microKorgs dipping down into the Eblin Caves and did find a curse ring in one of the chests. So that is your endgame agility anchoring sorted in all likelihood.
Indeed, and we also have another nice little find here. We have both Bacchus and Sirens here. So we do know that Sirens will not show up anywhere else in the seed. If you want more Sirens, you're going to have to come back. But they are at least located 100%, so we know where they are going to be hiding for the future, which is a good bit of knowledge that they're kicking around, really.
Yeah, there's always that chance that they're just not anywhere to be found, and if they are here, there's always the chance that they're up on the moon, which usually takes a good while to get there.
Yeah, it's neither are like if they're on the moon, you kind of don't want to spend seeing that cutscene over and over and over again. I'll take that hook. Second Rosa though, do we kind of take that, or do we just like leave her here? Really?
So personally, I'm not a huge fan of a second Rosa. If you want another layer of healing, that's what your foo is for. And we don't have stuff like Artemis Bow, Heroine Robe. With the right gear, she is quite strong, but that is a very gear-dependent sort of thing. We don't have that right now.
Yeah, the closest we have is just a samurai bow, and if you really want, see, this was the decision I was thinking too, and microKorgs makes and just Snap does. It's Rydia is very, very medium in the fact of her HP growth and her level growth and everything like that. She's very good at which, and we just found the Rydia kit there too. We found a Dragon Whip and we found the Tiara.
Of course.
Oh, that's so heartbreaking. I would have been very tempted to keep the Rydia at that point. This, like I said, this is where he's like, Rydia is great for early and mid, but when we get to the late game, I'm kind of sure I would rather have a Rosa over a Rydia for one simple thing. You get more HP, you're going to have more survivability. She's going to have slower casts in white, but you don't need to get Rosa to level 52 to make her good. Once she hits about that Cure 4 range, in all honesty, she's done. She's all the level she needs.
Now see, my question with all of this, with Rydia or the second Rosa or anything like that, who's your anchor now? I would have... I mean, that is valid, but I would want Fu around for the nukes. I would want to be looking at this party and thinking, yeah, we go mixed. We go hybrid. Yang has plenty of health. We can bounce anything off of him. Not really worry about it. So, I don't know. I would want a nuke caster being able to cast a nuke.
Actually, I do agree with that. And again, I see it from the other side as well, in the aspect of you have two Rosas bouncing whites or something like that. But as we're seeing in chat from Rowdy Sniper, he is really true. A cursed Fu can still pop out about 4.5k on a nuke, which is not bad at endgame. So you still have Roses doing the thing. But should we be quiet again for some more music?
Yeah. Let's give it some time.
The lovely reprise of Lufia. And again, getting through the fight very handily, not letting the script run out, but instead letting us get a little bit of extended bit of the music. On microKorg's side, though, we do have ourselves the wave that is Cognazo. Not bad to see here. Those waves are still gonna hurt, but the not gonna be making as much use of the punch that is here, thankfully.
Yeah, this spot does have pretty high magic power to ensure that Calbrenna's status effect spells can actually hit. But Wave is percentage based on Kanazo's HP. The magic power doesn't matter for how strong that attack is.
Oh, absolutely, and the fact that this has a fairly decent physical stat too, because the big doll has a fairly high attack stat for this area, just to make sure that when it does change, you feel those thumps pretty good. But already hiding in the shell, gonna be through this fight pretty quickly.
Yeah, we did get to see that, for microKorgs at least, the anchoring plan right now is that second Rosa. That there is a cursed ring on her.
Yeah, before we went back to music, that's actually what I was going to bring up to you with the discussion. It's you keep leveling this Rosa, you use her as your anchor for now, and you have Fu carry you through the early part of the seed, in the sense that he takes you all through your bosses, you get your XP on your characters through that, and then when you go to hit that Zeroma's fight, you swap it around. You swap Fu and Rosa, Fu takes your anchor, he gets your cursed ring, and he does his anchor thing and still pops out half decent casts. Because if you get a bad big bang roll on any character, oh hey look, other old man.
Oh yeah,
if you get
the 100% anchor.
Yeah, the one that is like you from here on out you are only anchor. Tella does all of his work on the overworld. Very little of it does he do outside of that. But yeah, Tella, a great character in the sense that he has so much and then the flying dragon just gets swallowed up into a quake. I do love that. It's like, look at me, I'm Bahamut and bye dude, I miss you.
Well, I mean, isn't Bahamut one of those that's not technically a dragon, so maybe he's not technically flying. Maybe it's all an illusion.
Minor illusion? Wait, he can cast that?
Maybe it's all 3 Lunarians in a trench coat.
Hold on now. Why are you spouting such Golbez theories? we do have the purple glove stealing the crystal, and we're gonna see what is in fact the latest fashion here in Dwarf today. That's not bad. That's something you kind of don't hate chasing. You get the tower key, makes keyless tower no longer a thing, but getting both those checks wrapped up in once, not bad overall. A quick little 2 bosses, 2 key items, not the worst.
And it's right over here. It's right there. You're in the neighborhood. Go pop in. Say hi. Kill a boss.
Absolutely.
Y2Sky apparently deciding does not want to try a double Rosa strategy and just resets out, going to nope out of the Evelyn Cave entirely. Might still decide to use that second Rosa as an anchor later on and just not bother lugging her around. Or might ignore it entirely.
Absolutely, and we do see a little bit of divergence here as well. But both runners also doing the same thing. They're not checking to see what that King Queen Evelyn fight is. That could be where our rogue D-Lunars are hiding. But the divergence here being microKorgs already underground, gone and just done all of his non-freebie checks, whereas Y2Sky getting a pan from that rat tail that came from Vanilla location. That is actually really big because that's 2 more key item locations, as well as the fact that it knocks out another key item to get them close to that 10 for the grind.
Yeah, the one downside of that is it is a lot of travel time to do that whole sequence. It is a total fetch quest. You're not doing fights, you're not getting XP, you're just flying around the world. So if it ends up being nothing, that's a lot of time wasted.
Indeed. And speaking of a bit of a waste, we found ourselves a Bahamut for the Iridia we just got rid of.
Well, if Y2Sky takes on that trap chest, he's going to be a lot happier than microKorgs is right now. The only way you're getting a Bahamut orb is through a trap chest, or I guess from a key item spot. I don't know that. I think they can also drop tier 7 items, but you are not going to find it in a random chest for sure.
yeah, you're not going to see those summons anywhere besides the key item locations, besides those trap chests. So it's not like it's nice to see. That's just a lot of money for microKorgs for more summons. That's another good key item to find though. Like you're saying, oh, we're not seeing fights, but we're seeing some possible requirement. That's a package that came from the pan. That could be where our Sid's hiding, and could also be B-Lunars. Funnily enough, this rat tail could technically be hard required.
Absolutely. I've seen races over the course of these Swiss rounds where, yeah, the character that you wanted was at package, where the boss that you wanted was at package. I don't know that I've seen both at once, but it's not impossible.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of beverages, you're going to find it like that. But microKorgs using that Thunderclaw on Yang, going through every one of these searches, finding another Bahamut. Hey, you know Rydia? You know how you got rid of her? Your punishment.
That's the end of the line for Y2Sky, getting another bit of laundry.
Look, she just wants to make sure. You have two roses. Do you want to make sure they're both equipped fine? They look so cold.
More to the point, Yogg isn't wearing a shirt. He's shirtless the entire game. Put a shirt on, Yogg.
Yeah, she's like, but honey, I know you're cold. I know you have those rippling muscles you must show off. But can you put on a shirt for when you go underground? I know it's so cold under there. Answer question, chat. My mom does not sound like that. She is a little bit more higher pitched, and you don't want to hear that from me. We do, however, see microKorgs finding a free fight here. We do have the Baron guards or the Kaipo guard sitting on top, where he's sending Dr. Luggage down to the underground, kind of like seeing the vanilla-ish possible. But we are going to get ourselves another new key item check and to see what Korgs has up here, because this is extremely free.
Yeah, two possibilities for what it could be. Wound up being the Officer Soldier. Just Quake. Maybe cast the Fatal on the Officer to ensure you get the extra XP, but yeah, this is a free fight for sure. Even if it was a Kaipo guards, just mute them and be on your way. Like, whatever.
Considering that this one Rosa has about 400 HP, you want to get her to tier 4 as quick as possible. And also, forgetting how long the cast time Fatal is, I do appreciate the attempt to get a multiple life glitch, but with the cast time of Fatal, it takes you just a little bit. Gets at least one life glitch off, which, do you want to explain when we talk about that, what we mean?
Sure. So, every enemy that you fight, you're going to get some XP outside of certain locations. Every enemy also has, their stats, their HP, their strength, etc., etc. They have a vitality stat. The vitality stat is 0, by the way, and that's important because the life spell restores HP based on your vitality stat. So, okay, you kill an enemy, you cast life on it as it's dying, so you can actually target it. It comes back to life. It has no health. It dies. You get the XP again. Huzzah! Also getting a Darkness Crystal for doing that fight, so that's extra huzzah. If you use a long enough cast time, you do things cleverly, you can actually get multiple life casts on a single enemy as it's dying, and get double, triple the XP for a single fight.
Indeed. Oh, and speaking of double, we have D-Mist here behind that tower key. That is a 3 for 2 in this tower. And in a spot like this, you really love to see him here, because he's got no HP. The Quick Virus, not long for the world. So this is not a slug of a fight like it could be in, say, the Ogre Pogo spot, or it could be if it was in that Leviathan location, or if it was in Bahamut's background. There's so many different places where if it was chilling out, it would be a bad time. But we have two different bosses going down on both sides of the screen.
So microKorgs now getting his own kind of infusion of key items, or at least key item possibilities. Picking up that Darkness Crystal, we'll get another one as we leave this tower. We'll get another one heading to Mist Village. Y2Sky sitting on that rat tail, that pan, that package as well. I think both of these runners are gonna hit 10 key items probably around the same time. They are not gonna have identical trackers for sure.
And that's the really nice thing about a lot of these seeds. You think, oh, well, who's technically ahead right now? until we see the way this feat is planning out, we have no idea. And it also depends on where the fourth key objective they go is. If they get two different objectives, technically both routes are correct. So it all depends on what we find here. It's both are doing checks that make sense to them, and both are getting like high percentage value out of it. To be completely honest, we got the pan from one side, from the rat tail, from the Y2Sky side by checking the freebies. Korgs has found Demist here, got the darkness crystal. Like we have varying levels of like great information from both sides and getting a whole bunch of good stuff. But that tower also very hard to acquire. That is, if Demist has the adamant, that's insane what's up there.
Oh yeah, that is. We are halfway through on objective 2. We do need that darkness crystal. Well, we probably need that darkness crystal as our way to Zeromus. There's always a chance of getting a pass, but I mean, we have enough objectives on the table. And yeah, there's a lot going. I mean, the pigtail could also be in there. You have parts for 2 separate objectives. If that's the turn in for Demist.
Yeah, or we can get ourselves one of our few fetch quests we have left. The ones we don't know about. We don't know what Baron Key is. We don't know what Luke Key is. We also don't know what that Earth Crystal is. They could be up on the moon. They could be behind the Demist. Like, there's just so much that's just around. But microKorgs is going about checking out the shop here. Only sees Odin. Not something you want to see after you've gotten rid of your only summoner from the Land of Summon Monsters. And puts away, gets a fair bit of money. So if he goes back and gets some more sirens, he kind of has the bankroll he needs for the rest of the season, to be honest.
Yeah, those Bahamut orbs do sell for quite a bit. And Y2Sky so far is not going to pick them up, making a beeline to the top of tower. We'll see if he bothers to hit up any of the trap chests on his way back, or if he's just going to completely ignore them and lose out on that little bit of bounty.
Absolutely. It would be really nice for him to grab them, especially with this Rydia that he's got. It would put Rydia way heads and shoulders above this double Rosa comp right now. But still the fact is, like, Rydia will be pulling her weight later on, hopefully. And it's just really good to see what's going to happen. microKorgs, though, is saving here, checking to see what his characters are fully running. I think we may see a run at one of these 2 bosses. I really hope he does take the Sandlion. It is pain, it is unfortunate, but we could see a cheeky little run here.
Yeah, and honestly, if you've got Blink available, you've got Cecil, who has cover, you have everyone else at critical HP. It's a lot of self-management, but it's focused. You just have to worry about Cecil. And then do magic to do all your damage so you never see a counterattack. I don't know, it's doable.
However, if you do have everybody at critical HP and you only heal with Cecil, you have to be very, very careful. You do not attack with Cecil. You also cannot have him defend. Because if he's defending, he will not cover. So you have to have him use an item, use his weapon as a free thing, or cover on, cover off. Additionally, you have to not trigger a single counterattack. Those are not things that you cover. It is classified as a magic attack. So yeah, I think we see the run here. I am really excited to see this happen, and I want to see how this goes about on microKorgs' side. I'm actually excited to see this fight.
Yeah, certainly a lot more dynamic and mysterious than what Y2Sky is doing, which is just the Officer Soldier. We all know how that's going to go.
I'm actually very curious to see if he throws out one of these silk webs he's got there just to really control the speed of this battle. Additionally, the nice thing, those hits are nothing for that Cecil here. That's a good set of damage. But as you're also seeing, the scripts for a lot of these counters are actually, as we see a higher roll in the attack. See, Toxinat get hit. The nice thing about the counters on most of these scripts, they're actually extremely critical. It's like, it's not just physical damage, or it's not just this or this. It is must use fight command. So if you use power, you use jump, you use anything along those lines, you're not going to be seeing any of the counters that we should normally see.
Yeah, so I saw, Fu open up with a nuke. That's not going to get any counter. Magic is not fight. Fight is fight. Berserk is also fight, by the way. It's just a lot of fight over and over.
So when you berserk someone, you say there's a lot of fight in them, eh?
Yeah, that's what a Bacchus wine is. It's just a glass of fight.
Words that always start that will never fail to start a fight. You want to fight?
I mean, I would say no, so I guess in that case it would fail to start a fight.
True. But we do see Fu getting through the HP here. I believe the HP value here is around 18k. So it's gonna take a few nukes here and a few powers just to get through. Also, the problem with Nuke and with Fu has no MP growth, so he only will ever have the 190 MP, and you need to feed him a fair amount of boosters just to keep that battery going.
Yeah, but we did find them for sale, so microKorgs has picked up a number, and use your consumables. It really should be like a mantra along with check your objectives, check your freebies. Is use your consumables. They don't carry over to your next seed.
Exactly. Use whatever you have. Make sure you use them. If you have to get through a cheeky fight here and it gets bad, oh look at that cheek! Actually uses wow and has a miss on the counter. That's
wow.
That was very lucky and also very cheeky to get that swipe off. But Y2Sky gets through the entirety of the tower, very easy peasy. Whereas microKorgs, Fu's at full power and is rewarded with just a spoon.
Oh man. We haven't seen an Eddie at all. Not like we would take him at this point. It's far too late in the seed.
Absolutely. But also, huge shout out to microKorgs for kind of making that fight look really easy. That could be very spicy and puts on a bit of a clinic in that fight. Very nicely done by him.
Meanwhile, Y2Sky is going to get his grind on, hitting up with this little peninsula that, there's eggs. There's always egg. And this fight is free if you can do a good 1800 damage in a single swing, which Quake will do.
Also, as we see on microKorg's side, does save, does go back. Looks like he's going to take him in that blue road. Also, extremely heads up on him. Throws on that rune axe, which is bonus damage to mages, as he goes to take this fight, knowing that 4 to 5 fights are conjurers, which are mages, which that fight is just going to be absolutely ripping through these first four encounters.
Yeah, it doesn't do you anything for the Clapper fight that comes at the end, or any of the things that the conjurers will actually summon, but, those are more manageable in comparison.
Absolutely, 2k damage from the Cecil at this point. Not bad considering what you've got here. Conjurer goes down, quick little Quake, gets some levels in some characters. Unfortunately, that middle Rosa is getting some levels. Might mess with some agility shenanigans later on, but I know we do have the curve ring to make it look nice.
Yeah. And chat pointing out that, we use Quake on a moth that appears to be flying, and it hits. Summoned monsters, I believe, never actually end up being, flying or floating the way you might expect. So that works fine.
Also pulling out a little bit of flying on his own because the Arachnes. So this, if you didn't find Sirens anywhere, I'm going to say this is actually a really good place for grinding. These Arachnes, if you had an ice weapon, they go down in a single hit. They get a lot of XP, and all they do is Quake. They Quake over and over and over again. So you could get a fair chunk of XP from this if you were to use it for gratification.
Yeah, and the next fight or the one after, I never remember the sequence on these, we will see the Conjurer with the Clapper, and that is an old school strat for getting a bit of cheeky XP. Just redoing the Clapper over and over. It's not really worth it in this day and age. We have those Sirens, we have really strong options, but there's a nostalgia to that fight for sure.
I was a bigger fan of when I was playing the vanilla game of doing the Arachne grind, because you just have Cecil pop and go. But yeah, Clapper, very classic. We also, speaking of, here it is. Additionally, we did see ourselves one of the twins over on Y2Sky side sees it from the package, decides, you know what, I don't want to see if maybe D-Lunars are hiding back here, just now we're out of here.
And yeah, chat pointing out, we saw the package, we didn't see D-Mist. And microKorgs hasn't come back to the surface at all yet, so we don't actually know what Radiant's Mom is holding on to.
answer a question in chat. Package came from the pan check from the Sylphs themselves.
Yep, that was a chain of Rat Tail to Pan to Package and 2 white shirts.
Additionally, just another shirt over on the side of microKorgs. So Feymarch not really having much aside from a bunch of XP of invasion, so not as many sirens are required.
Yeah, but with how fast those egg fights are, is that really a time save? Or is that just a consolation prize?
I'd say a consolation prize. Also makes it so that if you do keep that other Rosa up, you could have her do some DPS. Throw on the heroine robe, give her the samurai bow, maybe find some decent arrows. She can start pulling her own in that end fight. Like she'll be popping out levels damage of say Crystal Sword or Excal Cecil, but she'll be throwing around Kane and Edge levels of damage, which is still really nice to be dealing with.
Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, if you're gonna have a double Rosa, you want that equipment to make the second one, distinct and powerful. Having 2 Rosas both being white mages, that's not actually carrying you as far as you would like compared to other options. But a strong heroine robe archer, yeah, you got something going.
Absolutely. And Korgs, remembering, checking the demist, we're going to see what we have here. Does Rydia's mom have some of the goods? Is that tower 100% required or just like mostly required? Leviathan. Hey, where's my daughter? I have a gift for her.
She's in Y2Sky's party. The one who hasn't visited.
You never call. You never write. I've got these nice things for you. Why do you never... Hey, look, more vanilla.
And then microKorgs goes and does not bother checking package, which also is a bit of a whiff at the moment, but he doesn't know that.
Very true. He still hasn't gotten the package yet because he still has to turn in this rat tail and has to go down through the rest of these Sheila checks here too. So it's... I'm excited to see what he does if he does go through. And I really want someone to go check to see what is at that that demist here too. Not demist, at the King Queen Evelyn, because we don't know who's hiding there. We have another fight right there too, which is great. Y2Sky though saying, I've had quite enough of the overworld or anything on the blue planet. I'm coming up to the moon. What do we got here? Especially with the second food, which I believe he took. Which is, I mean, you got 2 foos, you got a Rosa, you got a Cecil. That you don't care what your 5th character is.
Yeah, I dare say at this point you care, what your key items are. That's really what you're hunting down. You're looking for that adamant rock. You're looking for that pink tail. You find the D-Lunars along the way. You have spoken 5 seconds into the past, because there they are.
All right, look, and this is why I'm a big fan of going top-down as well, because again, a lot of runners are like, oh, if you go from middle out, everything's going to be so much better. And I'm just like, but why though? Because this out of here, you do this last, you could have had this done just in and out. Especially imagine if this is either Pink Tail or the Legend Sword. That gives you a lot of your quests right here.
Yeah, I mean, we have the Legend Sword, but the Adamant Rock is the one that we're looking for. Neither of those can lead to the other, though. They are both terminal items. So you're not going to be like, oh, I got half of one objective that I have outstanding. I have only one objective really left. Do I gamble and push the chain? Like, that's not going to be a possibility here. But it is still possible this is hard required. 2 objectives in 1.
Agree. The only place we know is fully hard required right now has been that music, because not only is it the hard objectives, but it also where that hook was. So really interesting to see that we've got that 100%, like kind of locked out. Most of our like leading areas are good, and Rosa even throwing out tier 4s for a solid amount of damage.
Yep, you wouldn't know by looking at them, but they're undead. These D-Lunars.
What? I don't know.
I know, it's amazing.
They're all skin and bones. All they need is just a good sandwich. You make sure you had a good, healthy lunch. You'll be fine.
The Y2Sky is 100%. If I'm breaking you up, and I'm so sorry.
I was broken before we started, but
All right, so
just, just a blizzard spear for that. Not even like a great Kane item, much less we don't have Kane.
yeah, it's an item you know. Okay, that's fine. Y2Sky also getting out of there is like, you know what? I got this boss fight. We're going to continue the top down. It looks like, and is going to be seeing what's happening here over in Bahamut's cave. Always check cave value. Also, yeah, microKorgs showing us at both times Sheila 1 and 2, both giving us the white shirt, which is fairly comical again, getting that back-to-back shirt. Also, we did see Y2Sky pick up a couple of hourglasses inside the Hummingway abode, so there is the possibility that he might do a little bit of a grind here, crack an egg or two, and get rid of some of those gold dragons, which, with double Fu especially, you've got yourself one to weak, one to cast ice 2, and then someone to cast a cure. That, no, I'm okay with not doing that fight.
Y2Sky Sky is brave here, looking at Mom Bomb at Bahamut and saying, "Yeah, I can look at, I can swing that."
Oh no, Mom Bomb's the one who's going to be doing the swing. Give me a second. Yeah, look at her swing for that Rosa for 1100 in the background.
But I mean, yeah, three blink casters and cover. I mean, you can kind of set up for handling the physical stuff. This says nothing about the explosion that will happen. There's that, but you can mitigate everything else.
Yeah, you have more than enough mitigation, except for the Rosa who hit the ground. Or what you could alternatively do, with Cecil having the amount of armor that he has, look at that, takes a 300 hit damage. Just wait for everyone to get weak and then kind of raise them up. I'd say a little bit slower than the blink strategy, maybe, but also speeds it up in the sense that you don't have to constantly be casting these blinks here. And Yang just kind of do his thing, berserk up the Yang, don't berserk Cecil by accident or else bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. You can't be protecting people if you got all that fighting. Yeah.
Absolutely. We do have the Foos look like they're going to start casting out some nukes, which I really agree with, even if they weren't blinked up. You do have, like, they should be able to survive one hit in the front row that first Fusoya. The one in the back middle definitely could be handling one or two, even if they get knocked down. Okay. Casting nukes, casting punch with Punch Mage, and Rosa is just keeping up the blinks.
And microKorgs cabining up, about to head into this same cave, gonna look at this same fight. We'll see if he comes to the same conclusion or decides to bail out.
So it's been interesting. We've had the runners kind of like retrace each other's steps, but we've never had a quote true high five where they're in the same location at the same time. This is going to be the first time in an hour and 5 minutes where the runners will actually would if they were on the same screen, would see each other. But Y2Sky doesn't even see the explode, gets out enough damage to those nukes, and is gonna make very quick work of this. I'm really excited. Also, party rock time.
That is very valuable, possibly required. microKorgs sees the Mom Bomb, decides, I need some more levels. Let's talk to the King Ryus.
And he is on that 10 key item grind, so this is going to be double XP for him. So this is actually a really good time to start doing it. If he's looking at this saying, this is my endgame party, let's make it happen, this is probably one of the best things for you to be doing. Although he does not know that there is a second Fu sitting on the moon. He didn't check the Lunar Dais, just came right here, which maybe punished? Probably not, though.
Yeah, who knows? At this stage, though, Y2Sky going back to the blue planet, going to, I assume, chase that Earth Crystal. There are 2 bosses. You're not looking for any bosses anymore. There are 2 characters. You are looking for 1. And there's 1 key item when you're looking for 2. The numbers kind of work on doing this. But the odds of this being all you need to do and you're good to go, still a bit low.
Yeah, the joys of this, it's like you have so many different options, and if you're still looking for maybe some equipment because you're not 100% confident, like maybe you want to see an Artemis bow, which I don't think will drop from the treasury. Maybe you want to see yourself some nice arrows. Maybe you want, I don't know, you can still get power shirts from there too. So are we gonna get a rate? Oh, unfortunately, no. It just bypasses it. I'm not surprised. My inner loop goblin would be so fighting it at this point, personally. But this is, I think, with the fact that the runners are both at 2 and 2. I like this play from Y2Sky. We do have in chat Natasha saying that, yeah, this is aggressive play. I like the aggressive play because you're right now running for getting that higher option, getting that option to maybe go 4 and 2 in the long term. Maybe just trying to keep winning so you're not mathematically eliminated. So you have to make these nice games. And I'm actually here for it.
Yeah, I've been saying, all of these races that I've been commentating, I basically never see a bad play. You see risky plays, you see safe plays. It's very rare you see a bad play. And yeah, this is maybe a little bit of a risky play, but certainly not a bad one. Going against that Mom Bomb at all was a little bit of a risky play. That was a tricky fight, but Sky pulled through, and we're going to chase down the reward for it.
Absolutely, and sometimes objectives can lead into other objectives, and it's like you have the options here too. To answer our lovely Restreamer Cubs rule, package was checked. It was just the one twin and nobody really cares about. It is Porum. Sorry, Demi. Please don't be in chat right now.
The White Mage would like to know your location.
But yeah, so you have 2 character checks, 1 key, like you said, 2 character checks, 1 key item check. We don't care about the boss because we found both D-Mist and we know where D-Litters are. So we're really just kind of hoping that maybe we get ourselves like a double dip. We get both one of our 2 key items and we get a Sid, or maybe we get third food.
Third food.
Okay, I didn't see that on the screen. Holy crap.
Oh, we are both just predicting the present today. So that's
gift for kindly Uplander.
There are only 3 duplicate characters across the entire seed. We have now seen them all. 2 of them are food, and the other one's Rosa.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane. And it's the other kid. We have ourselves a Pat the Quack kid. I foresee one of these being taken, not both.
Honestly, with Sky's party, I see neither of them being taken.
I could see him getting rid of the Yang for a foo, 100%. Oh, wow, though. Kind of surprising. Like, I could see, like, the hybrid.
Oh, okay.
That's a bold play, Cotton. Could maybe be picking up this Paladin just as your anchor now. So we do know that this means... Actually, hold on. This means we know exactly where this Sid is. Do you know where he is?
There's 2 possibilities where this Sid is.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about Baron. I was excited. I was hyped. Come on, man. You gotta kick out my hype here. We do have ourselves an Odin, which is not long for a lit 3. But yeah, we have Baron or Giant as the possibilities of where this last Sid is. But I am fairly certain we're going to see the Pinktail first before we see a Baron key.
Yeah, and I strongly suspect we're going to see. Well, we're definitely not going to see one of them here in the tower. There's only one thing to find, but there's a lot of things to be found on the moon. So, what is to be found on the moon versus the tower?
Indeed, and we still have the entirety of the moon checks that are not not the Paladin spot to go check on the moon. So this is like density-wise, unless this is exactly Baron key into Pinktail or Pinktail red.
Well, it's Baron key.
Oh man. All right, so this is best god routing right here. You get Earth Crystal into your Baron key. You check this. You have to check this now.
Absolutely. You don't care about the math anymore. You are committed to this route.
Yeah, the percentages, it's like you have two checks, one key item, just get it done. You know the Leviathan boss is the first one here. If you remember from way back who gave off the first key. I think it was Leviathan who gave it to our first key item.
No, it was some form of Mylon.
Oh yeah, I remember the road. So we have so it's gonna be Mylon and Friends, because I think we saw Mylon Z earlier on.
I genuinely do not remember. Either one of them is probably going to be a breeze of a fight with this party.
We have Quack, we have Nuke, we have just get out of here. Sorry, you're a speed bump on the road. So we've got Mylon of some variety, as our tracker has reminded us that we have not seen either variant of Mylon yet. So we have the two options there, plus we also have the basement and we also have the throne, neither of which are going to be problems for this party.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we've even seen most of the lunar sparkles that could be a real challenge. We haven't seen Ogopogo, but Ogopogo at the Kanazo spot is actually not that terrible.
Yeah, you're not unhappy to see pretty much any of them anywhere. We do see a virus knock down the kid. I am really excited to see how Y2Sky wants to do this, because there's two schools of thought, and both are around the same time. You can either go do the top part of the throne, or you can go do the Odin spot first. Looks like he's doing the top spot first. Both are around the same time, and it's just dependent on personal preference.
Yeah, especially if you have the confidence that you can handle both of those fights, no matter who is there, and having the karate fight here is completely free, so yeah, whatever. Just smack it a few times. We got Paladin Cecil, it's free.
Also, I love how, is said by Invenerable, Yang's vengeance, he's like, I am taking over this throne. This is now my place. You've gotten rid of me. Quick nuke, toss in the microwave. All right, get out of here. Time to see what our character is. Do we have a required giant again for one objective? That's the big question.
Nope, we have vanilla.
Nom nom nom. Scoop number 3. Now, this Baron play becomes so much better if we get a pink tail from here as well, which will absolutely cement the way this goes, but is still a very, very bold play from Y2Sky for abandoning the moon, the high density play, for this. Like, we know it's an objective, but it's not the only objective that could come from it. If pink tail is here, exactly at here or Odin, then the moon is actually fairly haunted. Well, actually, not even haunted. The moon is also required, because this is how we got the Earth.
Yeah, it's a weirdly like haunted required moon. The D-Lunars being up there, getting the Baron key up, via the Earth crystal up there. But that's a pink tail. That's go mode for Y2Sky.
Oh, man.
The lunar subterrane. That's haunted.
Absolutely. So it's the Paladin spot. You do that Bahamut down, top down, paying off as an FYI. Just want to say that right there. That is bold. That is a super bold, bold play right here. By the way, from Y2Sky, could have done.
And microKorgs following suit though, has that Earth crystal, has taken out the D-Lunars. Is coming back to the Earth.
Also, I want it noted, our restreamer says, put down the spoiler log and no one gets hurt. I swear, I don't know what's going on here. I'm just a bit of a witch sometimes, and I'm like calling things. It's more fun this way.
Hey, didn't I call D-Lunars as it was happening?
It's true. Also, as pointed out in chat, we were given an X-Cal too from that pink tail. So Cecil went from very medium to now he doesn't burr, but he does slice, he dices, and he will make julienne fries.
I feel like microKorg saying that his party lead is a frog just wanted to go back and be with his people, but couldn't find the little gap in the pathway. You can go and talk to those frogs. One of them talks back.
And the fact that we randomized a whole bunch in this, there is some fun dialogue with those frogs too. So there is the fun this and that. But Korgs hot on Y2Sky's heels. The thing is, just because Korgs is behind in the checks doesn't mean he's actually out of this race yet. Y2Sky does have the crystal in hand and is making this run down. we know Zeromus can just say, I'm sorry, you're done here, and kind of put you down, no matter how good of a team you have, unless you are absolutely over level.
Yeah, in Y2Sky, plenty of levels, plenty of healing, but that doesn't always save you from that double tap, that Big Bang Intermedio. That is always a possibility, depending on how you handle the fight. I guess if you do pure reflex strats and skip phases, you'll dodge it, but still, that risk is always on your mind. So until you actually see that flashbang boom, you're not done.
My favorite thing I have not seen, but I've come real close to seeing, has been a last-second attempt at a nerf of a Big Bang. I've never done this. Please don't look at my streams ever. A last-second counter nerf for a Big Bang into a full-power Big Bang. Watching your white mage go down after a counter nerf, you're just like, but why though? Why do you have to target that one?
Yeah, and you know, Y2Sky doesn't have a Yang, doesn't have a Sid, doesn't have any of those super beefy characters who can shrug off anything. So yeah, his HP, last I saw, good position, good shape to be in, but not immune to danger.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with the safety save here. He does have his Rosa is like the only quote questionable out of all of these. Like Fusoya's are going to be fine. Even with that white shirt and the life staff, though, I believe he found she's going to be in like world's better position than where she could be, especially if he throws that bandana on her as well. But yeah, I think with all the equipment, she may have no problem surviving these hits, but is very close. Answer a question in chat. Yes, so Sky needs to just defeat Zeromus and he's done. So these flag sets, we have 5 objectives, but only 4 of them are required. Complete any 4 in any order that you want. As you see, we have, for example, Korgs has 1 and 5, whereas Y2Sky has 1, 3, 4, and 5 done. So no orders required. You get yourself your crystal, and that's your key to fighting Zeromus, as well as a party that can actually do so.
Yeah, but of course we keep saying we fight Zeromus because that is the script. That is ostensibly the fight, but that's not the name that we're going to see. That's not the sprite that we're going to see. Probably. I guess there are a few that are relatively vanilla, but there was a good 500 plus that are not. And we'll get to see which one of those butts we are going to kick.
And speaking of butts, Rosa was actually booted out on her butt. We do have 3 Foos, a Yang, and a Cecil, so incredibly interesting hybrid strats can be coming out from microKorgs side. Also does the lit 3 get out of here kind of thing for this Odin spot. But as you said, you've already talked about it. I'm going to let you finish it off. Hupfin, ask the question that all the people are throwing the flags out in chat.
Fine, I'll do this script. Ahem. Whose butt are we going to kick this afternoon?
Yes, a little side of butt after a nice lunch. We are going to see who Zeromus is going to be taking the shape of. As you said, over 526 sprites specifically for how many we have here. Y2Sky is in this fight first, but he, again, do not count out microKorgs. Very bad rolls or very bad RNG can be a big problem here. But I am excited. We have Palom thrown out the crystal. Who do we have?
We have invaders,
space.
possibly from space.
All right, it's 10 o'clock. I have no date. It's Saturday night, and I have a 2-liter bottle of Shasta. Let's do this.
And your All Rush mixtape.
Yes, I forgot about the All Rush mixtape.
It's okay, I forgot about the bottle of Shasta. It's been a while since I've seen that.
Never forget the Shasta. That was the best part. But we do have, from Space Invaders, the classic enemies that we fight here. We see some nukes getting reflected, and we see Cecil getting ready to do the thing he does. Rosa eating that counter nuke, though, is not what you want to see. Just, you know what, doesn't even care about a Cure 4. Here's an Elixir. Get back up, please.
But not going to get it off in time. That is a big bang. This will be nerfed, so most of the party will be fine, but that is a Rosa and a child on the ground.
Palin's done exactly everything he's needed to do. But we do have, we're gonna get through there. Just even the counter is like, you know what, Rosa's on the ground. That's fine. We've got some food. Oh, never mind. Top Foo is actually gonna give herself a life 2 on Rosa just to get her fully up from the ground. Yeah, Cecil's got to do a whole lot of work. These invaders are really close to the ground. He's got to chew through all of them just to make sure that they don't land and invade the Earth. These Lunarians can stay up here. And while we have kind of Y2Sky going through and doing the work here, I want to give a nice big shout out to the fact of our restream team that we haven't really had a chance to shout out doing the stuff in the background. We have Mechalink, who's been lighting up all these lovely buttons in a very quick fashion, and we also have Cubs Roll 21, who rolled this fantastic, not quite Jesse, but not quite super rude either. A very, very good seed to be seeing people play up against, and again, they do all the hard work, whereas my co-commentator here, Radio Hudson, she gets to keep me in line while I try my best not to meme too hard.
I would say so far you have memed the correct amount, Dathis, and I respect and appreciate that.
And again, also big shout out to the runners here, Y2Sky and microKorgs, for putting their time on to join this tournament, as well as put on a heck of a show. They did a lot of Divergent, showed off a lot of the seed, and seeing just a few different strategies. Again, Y2Sky showing off the Spay March, microKorgs just kind of putting on a clinic, just fighting fights very safely and showing different levels of running through. It's both these runners, and it's been a great run so far. And as we were saying, Z fights can go from okay to out of control pretty quickly.
That is just going to buy more time for microKorgs, who is now going and turning in that pink tail. We're not quite at the point where if Y2Sky were to take a wipe now, Korgs would have an advantage, but it would tighten things up substantially.
So I actually would disagree with you there. I think microKorgs would have more of an advantage because of the way these teams are going to be set up. What we see here on Y2Sky's side is we see a very classic hybrid strategy. But on microKorg's side, I honestly think he may abandon that Excal Cecil to chemist duty, and we have just Reflex Rats to cut that HP in half.
That is true, but he does not have the pass, so would have to walk the entire lunar subterrane, and that does cost very many minutes.
This is in fact true.
So we'll have to see. Of course, that is all moot if Y2Sky can hold it out and get through this fight. But we'll see. Again, it's not over till we have that dot done. That is another big bang shake for Y2Sky's side. See how prepared he is for this. Might be able to push it into rocks.
Or he could push it into the second. Yeah, no, unfortunately, is going to get this next big bang off. Full power, I'm pretty sure here. That Foo that just got up.
Ooh!
A high roll on that Cecil!
2,600. You very rarely see that. That is high danger.
I don't think I've ever seen that either. Holy crap. And that Foo with that lucky dodge. So we do see rocks. Meteor phase is the last phase of Zeroma, sub 12 KHP. All of his stuff is gone. He just does nothing but spam Meteor at return. The really nice fact about these characters is that they have high magic defense and magic evade, so there's a good chance they fully evade these. But there's also a good chance that these hit, as we see, for about 800. This is where we get to a very, I think, more stable phase, because you can get more tier 4s off, and you can just keep working like that, because, like we said, we see evades from the Rosa and the it's going to be a spot where you're going to be okay now. Like, Rosa and Foo could literally just toss out tier 4, and they will get through this fight eventually.
Yeah, that green Foo is MVP for Y2Sky. Multiple dodges on these Meteos, just taking no damage, exactly when you need them to take no damage. This is, whew.
Yeah, and to point out what's been commented in chat, and hard agree. Aside from this crack, bang, boom, flash, that is Y2Sky finishing. We'll get the official time up in just a second. Does advance to 3 and 2. 126.14 for an almost 17 key item seed and everything but the full moon clear. That is a solidly well-run race, sub-hour and a half. Nicely.
Yeah.
I see the GG's out in chat. Get some more of them out, guys. Y2Sky pulling out a very clutch win there. We're going to see if we can get him in for an interview.
And indeed, I do see a Y2Sky here in the booth. So, Sky, if you can hear us, GG and congratulations on clutching out that Zeromus fight.
Yeah, thanks. Didn't deserve the good luck there. That was a punt by far. Definitely didn't set myself up for that one, but I'll take the good fortune.
You know what? I've always said I'd rather be lucky than good. When rando's gonna rando like the way this one did, take the luck, man. Enjoy that W. So first off, let's go to this team comp you had here. I believe you had double Rosa at one point, or were you the one, or did you were keeping Rydia for the majority of the run, right?
Yeah, I kept Rydia until the first Fu. Ditched the made a mistake of ditching Yang with the Powell Maker and keeping double Fu. My thought there was I want 2 nukers with the Antlion fight if I have to do it. And I was thinking about the Fey March fights way too much. So Antlion with the Woe Gauntlet, I would have gotten through those a lot faster with double Fu instead of 2 Berserkers. But in doing that, I almost just hosed myself with the Z fight.
Well, I mean, one of those foos managed to be just pure magic evade, and that ultimately did save you. So, you know, worked out in the end.
Yeah, I don't know. My blood pressure would have liked to just go on with what I known and Berserk a double Zeus Gauntlet, Cecil and Yang, but like I said, take the W, right?
Indeed, and as we're seeing through here, only about 50 treasures looted. You did a fair amount of the bosses. So let's go back to a little bit of the early part of the seed. You have yourself a Rydia, you have yourself a Yang, and you have yourself a Dark Knight Cecil. You've just finished Hobbs. The world is kind of your oyster. What are you thinking? What are you hoping for? And what's kind of like your plan of attack on the rest of the seed once you've got your kind of like anchor cornerstone set up?
So at Hobbs, I'm thinking I don't really have a good carry option just yet. Mist is serviceable, but not great. So gonna go through Antlion, gonna loot most of that, see if I find something good, and then I kind of lucked out with the Sylph at the Wolves. So.
Yeah, so we get we have ourselves the Magna Key. You see the non-double dip. You, I believe, went down and grabbed that tail pretty quickly. What was your thought when you go underground and you come back up? What you get the rat tail and then the hook comes out of, I believe it was that Valid Antlion. What are you thinking? Like, you see yourself, you got the one Rosa, you find yourself your first Fu eventually. You've got what, Rosa, Fu, Rydia, Yang, and Cecil. Like, that's kind of your squad. How you feeling about how your party's shaping up?
Felt really good once I got a Fu. Felt like I could do, even if I didn't find the Fu, I would be able to do most of the seed. Because there was I think I looted a Siren at one point, so even before I found the shop with them, I had underground access, had a Siren. I think I may have had a coffin or a way to kill the egg quickly, so if I needed the levels. But Cecil had a defense sword. I think it had some other protective gear, so as long as I've got that, I can get through most of the stuff until the moon if I need to.
Siren was out of ordeals.
And that was our tracker confirming that we had the Siren free from the Ordeals fight to get that glow up from Cecil. So yeah, you had a Siren, you had a Coffin, and that was just a great way to get some infusion of XP underground. So you're going through. We're about an hour into the seed, and we've got one objective done. We've got Cave Magnus, the twin harp we were given early on. How do you feel like it's like you thinking like, okay, do we do Moon? Do we do more of the Green Planet beforehand? Like what were you feeling a little scared? Maybe we had some required giant going on. What are you feeling around the mid game?
If we're talking the hour mark, at that point I'd done most everything except the Fey March. And again, those two Fey March spots there, Antlion and Alt Gauntlet, I really am not going to do those unless I've got power overwhelming sea levels close to it. Otherwise, it's a huge slog and it's going to cost me a lot of time. And Fey March is just too random. So yeah, at that point, top down Moon looked pretty good. Getting the tower key definitely sent me through the tower and gave me 10 key items. That was I was pretty happy at that spot. Crack some eggs, go look at top down Moon, and that just happened to pay off.
Yeah, that top-down moon was very much the right move to make, and microKorgs made it as well. So, handling that Mom Bomb fight at Bahamut, we were all a bit nervous about that one. And luckily, it paid out, because otherwise, that would have been a sizable investment of effort and time. And if it didn't go anywhere, it probably would have felt a lot worse. But it ended up being the route.
Yeah, that was again. I think I've got a glass helmet too. So I've got cover Cecil ready, and multiple blinkers. So wasn't too concerned about that fight, and especially if Fu can just cast Quake once the explosion happens. But Zertiang and Cecil's fights were enough to push with the nukes, just to push it and not even get that phase change.
Yeah, so let's talk about that afterwards. As we're talking about, you also have the top 2 locations in the Moon done, and then you just abandon the Moon. There's still 5 more key item checks to be done up there, and you see this Earth Crystal like, no, we're going here. It's 2 characters and 1 key item, as we've said, but you lose the option of these other 5 checks. What put you more towards the Earth Crystal versus the rest of the Moon?
Just wanting to make sure I cover those bases with that Sid, and just the odds of a key item being in that Earth Crystal spot. 2 character spots, that was the best place to check for that Sid objective I hadn't had yet. Also no pass, so if I'm not if I'm gonna go down the LST to fight Zeromus, if I'm going to double dip going down that LST and have to go back to the Earth, complete the objectives, then go back, I think that's got to be the last location there. Because at that point you're going to have to double dip LST. But I did leave a save right at Cape Bahamut also. So slept in the whale, made a save. So I was going to save scum going back if the Earth Crystal was just a complete rabbit hole. But it ended up being the chain. So
Indeed. Moon, in fact, full of value today by comparison to the Haunted that it is, 90% of seeds. So this win does put you at 3-2. You are not mathematically limited yet, but you do have another week ahead of you to keep going. How are you feeling going into week 6?
You have to ask me that question Sunday night or Monday morning whenever I find out the pairings, because this can go either way. I mean, there are people, there are runners like top 4 and top 8 of ZZ3, as well as just people I'm pretty evenly matched with. So I think I just just have to keep doing what I'm doing. Just keep practicing, stay fresh, and come out and play my game one more time and see if I get there.
All right. Again, GG's. Huffman, you got any other questions for him about the seed?
No, nothing else I want to add. Just, GG and best of luck next week.
All right, thanks.
Again, that was Y2Sky. Final time 126.14. Get your GGs out in chat for him. Additionally, while we were going through that, we saw a very nicely executed reflex strat from 3 Foos, a Cecil, and a Yang on microKorgs, finishing just a little bit behind him at 134.16, and who's now joined us in the chat. GG's microKorgs.
Yeah, thank you. I decided to take out my frustration on some Foos and just wanted to wipe them out, but they managed to stay alive and get the fight won.
So, we got a good question for you about this. We have 3 Fusoyas found. Is that the dream team right there? Is that what you love to see? Or was that 2 Foos too many?
I mean, when I found the third, it was so late in the seed, I thought maybe I can do some reflex strats, have a quicker Z fight. I wasn't feeling great at that point when I found them due to Fame March not really paying off. And I was full committing to top down and chasing whatever was there, and I thought maybe if Y2Sky went bottom up, maybe that would save me, but I knew I was kind of in trouble, so I just kind of took that third Fu and just thought maybe I can kind of piece together Reflect and maybe have a slightly faster Z fight. But first of all, GG Y2Sky, well deserved. Good luck next week grabbing your 4th win and a ticket to the brackets. But yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I mean that Fame Arch dip ultimately did not pay off, but it was a perfectly reasonable play, and it was honestly a little bit impressive to go down there when you did and how you did. And I dare say that really made the difference, but I wouldn't blame anybody for making that move.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it paid off. Found a spoon, I think, and a heroin robe, which I put to small effect in that Mom Bomb fight. It didn't cave value, but other than that, yeah, it was basically bust.
Yeah, but beyond that, like early game, you two were kind of just trading back and forth on who's getting through fights faster. So it was, early on it was proving to be kind of narrow, and you were holding your own by far. I have to ask, you had that Rydia to start with, and you dismissed her, relatively early on, and then you go hit up some trap chests in the lower tower, and then find Bahamut and Bahamut. Is that just comedy, or do you not even care anymore?
I didn't see any Bahamuts. I just saw like piles of money, so I'm not sure if I missed them. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I guess at that point I thought to myself, Bahamut's pretty good, but I do have a Fu that nukes, and anticipating some kind of better weapon for Cecil at some point, maybe through Forge or something. So I thought that would be enough, and I didn't need Rydia anymore. I'm not sure how much Bahamut would have made some of the fights faster, but yeah, I wasn't. It was nice having all that money, but yeah, that seems to happen. You get rid of the character, and then you get the character's most powerful doohickey.
Yeah. No, were you taking those fights for the XP, or were you fishing for one of those high tier items for the party that you did have?
Oh, I was just hoping there was an Avenger Excal Crystal Sword early. That's all that was. Mm-hmm. I wasn't too impressed with the defense sword at that point, but yeah, that ultimate that was a bit of a time sink as well. Yeah. Eventually I was one-shotting them, but that first one I wasn't properly set up.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a huge time sink, and again, a perfectly reasonable gamble, especially when you're sitting at this 2-2 position. I don't blame anybody for taking even a slightly risky play just to try to get that advantage, and it didn't fall out in your favor that time. Other than getting you a lot of money, which is nice.
Yep. That's how that went.
Death, is there anything you want to cover with microKorgs?
So the only question I have is about the party. Is you were talking about you wanted to go through reflex strats at the end, but you got rid of one Rosa for the Fu. Why not dip, say, get rid of maybe the Cecil or the Yang, and then toss the other? As you had the one Cecil as the anchor. Why not have 4 mages and a bruiser as opposed to 3 mages and 2 bruisers?
I guess I didn't know if I wasn't paying too close attention how much how much experience I might need to get Rosa to white, and I guess my thought there was I was pretty sure I could get the 28 agility anchor with the Cecil, and then Yang would be the hit point kind of battery to to salvage anything. That's all that was. There wasn't a lot of there weren't a lot of neurons firing in the brain at that point. I was just trying my best to find a way to the end of the seed.
No, that's fair. And as we like to talk about and say, like once you get to near the end of the seeds, you kind of get a little bit frazzled. You kind of get like the nerves at the end. Like you just want to finish, like especially after seeing the dot done come through. So it's super well done and super well raced overall. You put on a very good show and showed a whole lot of it. And again, I just want to give a huge shout out to you for sticking with it. A lot of people I know FF when they see the wins come through, but you finished it out and finished out really close behind too.
My secret is I don't see the win come through. I'm one of the folks, I type my dot done into the bot, so I don't like to know. So I got to be disappointed the moment after I hit enter. Then I knew. All entrants had finished. This race room will not be closed. So yeah, I like that either moment of joy or absolute devastation. Yeah, so that's how I play that one.
Hey, you know what? And you still played it very well. Whether you had the joy, devastation, you still put on a great show. You are right now, though, mathematically eliminated. I want to say
I'd like a recount.
You know what? Sorry. Do we have a Scala Kitty still in the chat? We have an actual recount wanted from microKorgs. Can you go frame by frame for him, please?
No, not of this race. I absolutely lost this race. I just want. Do I really have 3 losses? That's what I want to count.
I don't know. Just talk to the admin team. I think they'll be very happy to go through each one of your races and make sure that that count is right. They have nothing better that they love doing than making sure and re-going through every single one of these. I've personally been in DMs with Scala where she's just been like, all I want to do is go rewatch these races and make sure the counts are correct.
Death, I can't hear you for the wall of newspapers that are currently flying.
What?
Yep. So thank you to the Restream team, Dathis and Hupfin on comms, Mecca clicking the buttons, Cubs rule for the 3 Foo seed. I really enjoyed the tournament. I'm kind of devastated in a free enterprise sense that I don't get to play one more for all the marbles next week, but I will be playing next week. So whoever's out there, my fellow eliminated players, I'm coming for you. I'm finishing this league 500, darn you, and you better watch out. I'll take 5 foods next time. I don't think that's possible in this flag set.
4 is the maximum you can possibly get.
Then I'll take
and
4.
The only way that works is if you have a starting foo with 3 randoms, so you cannot get 4 foos. 3 is actually what you got today was the maximum. But you can actually have 4 characters. I've seen it, I've rolled it, and no one liked it.
Yep.
All right, again, GG's to microKorgs finished with that finish. Super well raced by him. Whereas right now, that's going to actually be all from you and I, Hupfin. Just want to give, again, a quick shout out to our Restream team, Mecha Link and Cubs Rule 21 for letting us do things. Make sure you guys come back here actually go to Random Mania in a couple of hours. Actually, in about an hour, we have Kinda Nerdy Housewife versus Penguinator. Later on in Random Mania 3, 8 o'clock, we have Lord Bobbery versus Scratch Dragon. And then to round out the night, come back here in about 6-ish hours. We've got McBain versus Silverfire. We got some great teams going to be doing some commentating, some great teams showing it all off, and I'm super excited. But for now, Hupfin, what are we going to do? Is it just going to be you and I chatting for a bit?
I mean, we could chat for a bit. We could probably, just shoot the breeze, or we can send y'all over. We have a raid planned for Golden Shocker, I believe. Is doing some Swiss practice for this league, practicing for before his race tonight. Not one of them that will be restreamed, but there's a lot of racing going on. So yeah, I do believe that is the plan. No spoilers. Want me to head over to wherever we are headed. People like to hear what's, they like to see for themselves. No spoilers. We had to throw all the newspapers, but we'll get another newspaper. I'm at the stage of rambling. So, Dathis, how about you? You take us out.
All right. Thank you very much, Hudson. I will absolutely do so. Thanks for joining me on comms. Thank you, everybody. And let's give again a great big shout out to Golden Shocker getting that practice on for his own race tonight. Have yourselves a lovely afternoon, everybody.